Hey guys, doing something a little different today. I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite pizza recipe. And I've mentioned this before, pizza is one of those foods that I could eat any day of the week and never get tired of. And not only is this my favorite pizza recipe, this is probably my favorite dish, period, because I just love pizza that much. And how could you not love pizza? It's bread, sauce, and cheese. How could you go wrong? I mean, it's a meal that's been around since the times of the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks, so you can't go wrong with that. And what's even better is that this is not expensive to make at all. Now, the first thing I'm doing is making my dough, and I'm not going to go into detail about what goes into this because I've made pizza dough on here many, many times, and I'm sure you guys are tired of it by now, so I'll just put the recipe in the description box down below. Now, the footage that you're watching was shot at 3 o'clock in the morning because I had work that day, and I figured I'll just make the dough now before I go to work, and by the time I get back, it'll be ready to go. Also, the longer you let this sit, the better it's going to taste in the end. Quick story, I grew up eating a lot of pizza, like I'm sure many people have. My family is from New York, and I'm half Italian. That's my dad's side of the family. And I didn't really start making pizzas until I was in culinary school. Now, I graduated culinary school in 2017, and I lost count on how many pizzas I made. But ever since I started culinary school, I've been trying to come up with the perfect pizza recipe. And 5 years later, I think I came up with the perfect one, at least for me. Now for the pizza sauce, I'm using a can of whole peeled tomatoes, and I'm just going to blend them up here with my hand blender. You can definitely do this by hand. It's actually very easy. I just prefer to use the hand blender because it comes out a lot smoother. I know in the past I've talked about using San Marzano tomatoes, and you can definitely use those, but I think they're a little too expensive, and I think as long as you use the right seasonings and herbs, this sauce will come out great either way. This is the same pizza sauce recipe that I used in my last video. The only difference is that I'm using, obviously, the can of whole peeled tomatoes. I also added a pinch of baking soda to cut down on the acidity, and also I let this sit for an hour on low instead of 45 minutes. I know that may not sound like much of a difference, but it really did make a huge difference because the longer you let it sit, the more time the flavors have to get to know each other. And once they all become best friends, you'll have a great sauce. Like seriously, I think this is the best pizza sauce I've ever made. And I really have to thank Marcella Hazon for coming up with this amazing recipe for tomato sauce. I added my own stuff, obviously, like her recipe doesn't call for oregano or garlic powder or pepper or baking soda, but other than that, it is a great recipe. Next up is our cheese, and I'm using a block of low-moisture whole milk mozzarella, and you want to use this instead of the pre-shredded stuff because that's coated in potato starch, and it makes melting a lot less pleasant. This device that I'm using here is actually a cheese grater that I got from Bed Bath & Beyond, and I love this thing. It grates cheese so fast. Not a paid sponsor. Now it's finally time to make some pizza, and this dough has been sitting out for about 9 hours now, and before you put it on your countertop, make sure you coat the surface with some flour, and I'm just cutting the dough in half. Now this recipe makes two 10 to 12 inch pizzas, it depends on how thin you like your pizzas. And I have a confession to make. I can't toss pizza dough. I've been making pizzas for 5 years now, and I can't do it. I have to use a rolling pin. I've tried so hard, I really have, but for some reason, I can't do it. I did say I'm only half Italian. Alright, so I coated my pizza peel in some cornmeal, and I gave it a little shake to make sure that it doesn't stick, and you gotta work fast, otherwise your pizza dough is eventually going to stick to the peel. So I'm quickly putting on my sauce and my mozzarella cheese, and now to put on my favorite pizza topping, and that is black olives. And I can hear all of my friends right now going, "Oh, that's disgusting, that's so gross, why would you do that?" Look, black olives are amazing, so back off. And once I'm done with that, I like to put a little bit of olive oil on top for some extra flavor, a little bit more oregano, and some freshly grated Parmesan. This adds such great extra flavor, and this is about to go into a 550-degree oven on my pizza stone that's been sitting in here for about half an hour. And once it slides on there, this is going to cook for about 10 minutes. And once that's all done, I take it out with my pizza peel, and I slice it up, and I dig right in. You're supposed to let this cool for a couple of minutes, but I don't care. I like burning the roof of my mouth. And I figured while I'm still here, I'll show you guys how to make a white pizza. So I took my extra dough and I topped it with some olive oil. And I also had some ricotta cheese in the fridge, and I'll show you how to make this mixture in the description box down below. But I really put on a lot of cheese. I could have kind of backed off on the cheese, but who cares? Cheese is amazing. Use as much as you want. And this went into the oven, same amount of time, and I like to top this with some fresh basil. I actually picked these from my family's garden. And when that's all done, we'll just take it right out of the oven, slice it up, and top it with our fresh basil. The reason why I don't put the basil in the oven is because when you cook it, it takes all the flavor right out, so it's so much better when you eat it fresh. But anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be making more like this in the future, and this is certainly not my last pizza video. This is something that I've been wanting to make for a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I hope you all have a fun and safe Halloween. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye.